So last week we started a series on biblical masculinity because we're macho, we're men. And I found out that your guys' video only goes so long, so I have to talk faster this week. I got cover more material in less time. So we'll work on that as well. But there was a part in their series last week that I did not get to because it was so good. I pulled it out and I pulled it into a second week. And as I was preparing this week, and my wife pointed out to me this morning that it's the 4th of July week, you should do something with 4th of July idea behind it. Mind you, I had everything printed and ready to go already. And immediately, if you know me at all, my mind goes, boing! And it's off to the races. So I sat down at the table and rewrote for this morning. So we'll see how this goes, right? But yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I've been excited for a while. I've been looking for stuff that has 250-year anniversary and all this stuff and T-shirts and things like this. And finally, I found my wife, I should say, found this little blue T-shirt, and it's got this little itty-bitty USA and 250 underneath. That's the best I could come up with because everything else just looked terrible. So I'll be the guy probably next week wearing the 250 thing at the camp if you see me, if it's clean. Because 4th of July is the day before. But I got to thinking about how do we mix this together? How do we celebrate masculinity and Independence Day? And I thought, that's really not very hard. In fact, when I started looking at my sermon notes and started thinking about our forefathers, I thought, wow, this goes together really, really well, actually. I didn't have to change a whole lot. I was excited about that. My 7 ideas became just a couple ideas here and there, and I said we'll mix them together, and it came out all right. And then I put them through the computer and had to make sense of my notes because my notes were all over the place. So it's really cool because I'm excited to think that our country is 250 years old. Now, in a lifetime of countries, we're a young country. When you look at how many generations that is, that's a lot of generations of people that came and went before us. If you figure the average generation is about 40 years, and then the next generation starts over, and starts over, and starts over. So we're only 6-7 years into this process, right? Okay, you guys got it. Anyways, 6 or 7 generations into this process, and that's not very long. You look at countries overseas and to our south and things like that, and they've been around a lot longer than we have. Thousands of years. They're 50 generations in. We're a tenth of their way they are. But like the song we sang earlier, what happens is leadership changes. Things come along, things change. Some things never change though. Being a man or a woman of faith doesn't change. God doesn't change. God stays the same. We change. I was just talking to my uncle about this morning. We change. And then we don't understand why God doesn't answer our prayers anymore. It's because we've changed. God didn't change. He still expects the same things out of us. So on the 4th of July, we celebrate a nation that was brought into being through courage, through strength, through a willingness of ordinary men to make a difference. See, our founding fathers weren't anything special. They were just men like us and women like us that wanted something better. They're willing to bleed for it, fight for it, protect it. Just like in the prayer request today, protecting those who are being deployed. We're still fighting to protect our freedoms. And just like our American freedoms had enemies, we call them the British. But now they're like one of our best allies, so I don't know if you can really blame the British anymore. I still tease my friends that are British and say, oh yeah, you guys tried to take us on and you lost. You know how that went last time. We'll beat you again in soccer or something. And they're like, it's not soccer day, it was football. Whatever. Just like we had enemies then, there were physical people and wore red coats. Today we have enemies in our homes, in our country, in our classrooms. Your home has enemies. Your marriage has enemies. Your children have enemies. And your very spiritual calling has enemies. We're in a war whether we realize it or not. The devil doesn't want us to see that we're in a war. He wants us to see what's going on around us. He distracts us. But it's really a spiritual war that we're born into. We have no choice. We have no opt-out in it. Either you're in it fighting or you're in it losing. You see, this is not a neutral world that we live in. We think it is. We think we can somehow coast through life and just keep going. And everything's okay. We're not living in a peaceful playground. There's real things at stake. There's things more important than your new car. There's things more important than your leaky roof. There's things more important than your riding lawnmower that doesn't work anymore. Now, I'm speaking from experience because these are my things in my life right now. But there's something so much more important. And that's the spiritual battle that's going on around us. We are caught in a war that we have no idea and no concept because we can't see it. We can't physically touch it. We can feel it. Every time you don't want to pick up your Bible and read it, you're at war. Every time you get up on Sunday morning and don't want to come to church, you're at war. Every time you make something more priority than God or your fellowship with your fellow believers, you're at war. It's a war going on for your very soul. We spend our lifetimes looking at what we have around us and what we want. And we look at our freedoms of our country, and yes, they're amazing. There's a reason people still come and migrate to our country and not other countries. Because there's a freedom and an opportunity here that we fought for and we continue to protect. But even greater is we have an eternity, and that's the decision we have to make for our families. Your home is a battleground. Stop and think about that for a second. Think about all the dumb fights we have over stuff at home. Where does it stem from? Oh, my children are just being stubborn and they won't listen. They probably learned it from you. Just saying. I got kids. I know how it is. I look at their behaviors and say, why are you doing that? Oh, yeah, because I did that. Our home is the biggest battleground we have. First Corinthians 16:13 says this, be watchful, stand firm in the faith, act like men, be strong. Nowhere in the Bible does it tell us to be wimps or be weak. Paul and all the other authors are always saying, be strong, be firm. Stand in place, don't move, don't give in. Because the thief is coming to your house. He's coming to destroy it, to steal your children from you, your valuables from you, whatever he can take. He'll take your very soul if you let him. See, when we declared our independence from Britain, we were able to send out soldiers and fight a battle. Many battles. And recruit help. There was a foreign enemy. We knew who they were. But today in our homes, we have to stand and watch against a spiritual enemy that we can't see. We don't see the devil coming because we did, we'd be ready. We just got to know he's there. He's looking around. He's in your hallway. He's walking around looking for an opportunity for somebody who's downcast, somebody who's bored, somebody who's on their phone bored with no supervision. And I watch this happen across all age groups. We get sucked into our technology and we forget that our families are around us. The cracks are there. Nehemiah is a great example of this. And he went to Jerusalem to visit and saw that the walls weren't repaired yet, and that there were still cracks in them, and that they were vulnerable to attack from the enemies. Again, a physical enemy, but one that was controlled by the devil, and he knew it. So what did he do about it? So Nehemiah 4:14 says this, fight for your brothers, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your homes. Just like our forefathers fought for their homes, their freedom. Nehemiah back then was like, you're going to fight for one another. Everybody was so independent. They're like scared of the enemies around them. But he said, well, if we rally together and we come together as a group, and we set up watchmen on the walls, and one group works while the other group holds a bow and an arrow, or a shield, or spears, or whatever it takes to keep the enemy away, that's the life we need to live in our homes. We're the watchmen. We're the ones watching over our homes. Point number 2, your children are targets. If you can control the minds and the upbringing of the children, you can control the next generation. And we've gotten really good at this. And we've been using it for hundreds of years by controlling school systems, media, propaganda, as they used to call it. The Nazis would fly planes over and they would bomb people that dropped leaflets all over the place. We're coming! So they want to create fear. Or we're going to bring you a better life, because they wanted to make people think that they're the good guys somehow. And in their mindset, they were the good guys. It was all about the propaganda. Ephesians 6:4 says, bring them up in training and instruction of the Lord. Psalms 127:4 says, children are arrows in the hand of a warrior. That's you and I. Mom and Dad, we're the warriors. Especially Dad, that's your job, is to be the warrior and protect. This could be one of those Sundays that a pastor can stand up here and tell you it's okay to fight. We've been told our whole lives not to fight and to be nice and to be kind and get along with one another. No, there's a battle that we have to fight. Our children's lives are at stake. You want the next generation to continue the church? You want the next generation to be bigger and better than you? Dads, you are the only men in the whole world that are voting for your kids to have a better life than you did. I'm going to tell you what, we probably had a really good life. But we always want better for our children. We want more for them. See, enemies will aim at your children, at the next generation. They want to have control over them. Because if they do, they separate the family. Do you ever think about Job? We talk about Job, we talk about calamity, right? We talk about disaster. And Job's like, oh my goodness, he got wiped out, all his kids got killed, and all this bad stuff happened. But who was Job before that? And I never picked up on this before until I started preparing for this. In Job 1:5, it says, Job would rise up early and offer burnt offerings for each of his children. Each of his kids, he put up an offering and a prayer to God and said, God, please protect them today. Please watch over them today. Whatever's going on in their lives, please be with them today. Each one individually. It must have taken hours. I don't know how long a burnt offering takes to make, but one for each one of his kids. He had 10 kids. It had to take forever. Every morning he got up early and did that. Do you get up in the morning and pray over your kids? Probably not. Most of us get up and we hit our alarm clock and we're out the door off to work. Pray a blessing over your family before you leave. Take some time in your day. Moses' parents came up with a game plan. They said, the king said my son is going to die because he's of that age. What are we going to do? Do you have a game plan for when the enemy comes to your house and shows up? Do you have a game plan for when those kids walk out the door and walk to school? And if they're in the public schools, God bless those teachers that are in the public schools. I love them to death. But some of the materials that they're teaching now, it's like, hold on a second. We need to step up as parents, as dads, especially. A mom goes to school angry and they just say, oh, it's just a Karen. Dad comes to school angry and they go, oh, yes, sir. Let me make a change to this. I don't know why that is. It's just the mentality that we have towards parenting, I guess. Or maybe it's just the fact that dads don't get involved very often. When they do, then all of a sudden they're just like, oh, we gotta take notice. Get involved. You want your schools to change? Get involved. You want your kids' lives better than your life? Get involved. They need you. You're their superhero. Every kid thinks their dad is Superman. Kid you not. I felt tough and invincible and unstoppable because I was my dad. And if you ever met my dad, he's a winner. I love him to death, but he couldn't fight anybody for me. I know that as an adult, no. But as a kid, man, I'm telling you what, I thought that was it, man. Yeah, go ahead and pick on me now. I'm with my dad. I want to see him go ahead and pick on me. That's who you are with your children. Be that man for real. Get out there and get involved with them. Don't just say, oh, that's too bad. Make a difference. Come up with a plan. Teach your children who God is. So if you don't, the world will. They'll teach him everything that he isn't. And they'll never find God. Point number 3, your marriage is under attack. So true. So true. Mark 10:9 says, what God has joined together, let no man separate. And we could stand here for hours talking about people we know that get divorces. And the church is not any better statistically than non-churched. It's a very small couple percentage points. It's not much difference at all. And it's hard. Protect your marriage. You see, the devil's coming for your marriage. If you're a believer, the devil is going to come for your marriage because he hates it, because it represents your relationship with Christ. Jesus is the groom. We are the bride. What better example is there than a marriage? You've got to protect your marriage with all your might. Protecting your marriage means guarding your eyes. What are you watching? What are you looking at? Are you tempted? Get away from it. Could be a work relationship, could be anything, could be a friendship. Guard your time. And men, I'm speaking from experience because I do this wrong all the time. Watch your tone. There's a meme, and it says this. This is a wife, she says, I found out my husband is usually right. I just don't like his tone. And it's true. It's not so much what we say, but how we say it that matters. Our kids pick up on our tone. Our wife picks up on our tone. You gotta realize something. Our wives are just as stressed out as we are. And she's going to take it out on you periodically. It's okay. Be a man. Suck it up. Deal with it. Give her a hug. Don't snap back at her because that fight ain't ending anytime soon. You can sleep on the couch. If you're lucky. Maybe the car. Know what your whole situation is like. I'm telling you, protect your marriage. That is the best example we have of what it means to be in a relationship with Christ. It's our marriage. Protect it at all costs. Point number 4 is this. It's time to be warriors and fight back. I'm serious. We, as a church, have sat back too long. We have taken the idea of being timid and made that into the most passive-aggressive thing in the world. The church has become so passive-aggressive. It's not just a Midwestern nice, it's a church nice. That is not how we were established. You look at the early church, that is not how we were established. Jesus did not go to the Pharisees, well, if you guys could maybe think about possibly changing your ways, that'd be really nice. Wow. No. Enough. Put on the armor. Ephesians 6:11, read it. Put on your armor. What does it do? Study it. Check it out. How do you put it on? Why do we wear it? What do we do with it? I'm not going to go into details because we don't have much time. But you need to learn what it's for. There's a lot of really good material out there on that. Julie could tell you a good book or two, I bet, off the top of her head. She's been doing this for 50-some years. I mean, come on. But put the armor on. Get to war. Resist the devil and he will flee. James 4:7. I had an old Sunday school teacher that was his thing, his go-to. Resist the devil and flee. He will flee from you. The devil doesn't like to fight. He likes to bully. He likes to conquer. He likes to find a weakness. If you're strong and you stand up to him, he's going to go find another easier target. Not going to leave you alone, but he's going to go find another target to mess with. Because there's billions of people in the world for him to go talk to. See, Christianity is just a small portion of the world's population. Not nearly as big as we used to be. And we're falling away faster and faster because we've gotten weak. We've quit standing up for what we believe. Friends, we're going to get ran over if we don't start standing up. No, you don't have to be mean about it. You can be kind and loving about it. We need to start standing up. David didn't run from Goliath. He ran towards him. Little dude. Young guy. Right towards this big, gigantic guy. Now, I'm 6 feet tall, roughly. Depending on how straight I call if I stand that day or not. And I'm going to tell you what, I see some people out in public that stand like this, and they got shoulders like that, and they're not even nearly as big as Goliath. I'm thinking, ain't no way I played that dude. No chance. David, just a little dude, runs and takes on Goliath. He had a whole army standing at the moment going, what happened? We didn't have the guts to do that. David's like, you're insulting my God. The world around us is insulting us. They're mocking him, God. They're making fun of who we are as a church. Maybe you're not a David, maybe you're a Gideon. Maybe as you hear me say, you're a warrior because you're a man. You're a warrior because you're a woman. You're a warrior for God. And you're looking at me going, Pastor, that is not who I am. You have no idea. I am anything but. That was Gideon. Gideon was hiding from the enemies. Trying to grind a little wheat down without getting caught so they could keep it, because if they ground their wheat down and the grapes and got everything ready, the enemy would come along and take it and say, thanks, that's ours. He's hiding. And what does God do? God comes up to him and says, hello, great warrior. He's looking around going, who are you talking to? Are you kidding me? I'm hiding right now. Maybe that's you. Doesn't mean God can't use you. Can you imagine being Gideon? You got this personality disability, we'll call it that. He's scared, he's timid, he's afraid. He's like, I'm not a warrior. Now he's got to go back. He's got to tell people, hey, we got to get up and fight. And people are like, who are you? Well, God told me. Mm-hmm. So then he goes out to encampment with all these thousands of men. And God's like, yep, don't want those few thousand people, send them home. If you're scared, go home. He's not scared. They're all like, yeah, we're out here. It was half his army. Then they get a drink of water, and now he's down to 300 people versus 120,000 or something like that. Hello? Something changed in Gideon. We need to change as believers. We need to start seeing that there is more than what we're capable of, or we feel we are. Ephesians 6:12 says this, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against darkness and principalities. Things that we can't touch physically. If we could, we'd all just MMA fight them or something. I don't know. We can't do that. It's a whole different level of fighting. C.S. Lewis wrote this, Christianity is a campaign of sabotage against the enemy. It's warfare at all costs. We get in, we hit, we get back out. That's sabotage. There's a guerrilla warfare going on. We are fighting forces that seek to distort the truth, destroy our families, weaken our faith, divide churches, discourage men, and derail purposes. We are to resist the devil. We are to resist these things. Resisting is pushing back against everything hell tries to advance. And it is. And it's not easy. On the 4th of July, we honor people and men who fought for national freedom. Today, God calls us to fight for spiritual freedom. God is calling you to rise as protectors, not tyrants. Don't be mean about it, but as protectors. Not passive spectators. Don't be Midwest nice anymore. Knock it off. If you see something that's wrong, call it wrong, call it what it is. If you see a fellow believer living in sin, call it what it is. They might get mad at you, but oh well. I'd rather they get mad at me and get it right than they go to hell. Quit being so passive. Start being stronger. Fight for what you believe. We have to guard what God entrusted us with. This church is part of this community of believers, and God gave it to you. Do you believe that? That's why you're here today. That's why people are gathering all over the country in different churches, because God gave them that church for that time. What's that time going to be next? Is it going to exist after you're done? Is that next generation come? Only if we stand up and fight for it. Your home is worth fighting for. Your children are worth fighting for. Your marriage is worth fighting for. Your faith is worth fighting for. And your God is worth standing for. Freedom must be protected. Faith must be defended. Families must be guarded. It's time to stand up. It's time to fight. And it's time to protect what is ours.